Hey traders, it's Monday 18th of October 2021. Welcome to a brand new trading week. What news have we got today? Nothing high priority actually. We've had some news out from China 3 a.m. and that's it until the early hours of tomorrow, which is from Australia, the monetary policy meeting minutes. So just look out for that. These are UK times, don't forget. What are we looking at potentially? Well, looking at some dollar weakness because the dollar index has broken out this trend line basically with an impulse down. It looks to be forming a bearish flag pattern, which would traditionally break to the downside. There's a nice little bit of structure here, look, where we've got resistance, false break, resistance. So this would make sense coming down to around about that 93.46. Also have a trend line here to look out for as well, where price could come and test. So we do think USD will have a little move to the downside right at this moment in time. No signs there. There was a little bit of bearishness this morning from the top of this flag. We had this big bearish candle, which potentially could have been the start of the move, but it's since been reversed, so nothing quite happening yet. So that was on Euro. Aussie USD. Aussie USD is looking nice for further longs, and there's actually a trend line here. Well, there are more than one actually, but if I just draw from these lows here, okay, you could use the tips of the wicks. You could also, because trend lines are what's called subjective, I like to use tips of wicks, but occasionally if I see a better trend line which involves lots of more candle touches, and I will use that. So there's nothing really there, but this one, you know, 1, 2, that looks like a decent trend line where it's using the last two swing lows. So we're coming into that at the moment. It's approaching. Then we can also use Fibonacci. You don't have to use Fibonacci, but we draw it from the start of the impulse to the end of the impulse. So that would be from here to here, because that was the last impulse up. And we look for a Fibonacci, what's called a retracement level, for price to potentially come and test it and reject it. So it's almost like, in this case, an imaginary support area. So there's a nice 50% retracement level here, which basically means 50% retracement of this move. Okay, so let's just say this move was 100 pips. The 50% would be 50 pips, just as a for instance. I haven't actually measured it, so I don't know. But this would be a 50% retracement. There's a nice interaction there with the trend line. So we're not just buying there. You know, the momentum is to the upside. We need to wait for something to meet our strategy rules, or, you know, to agree with whatever we are looking for to suggest that buyers are now coming into the market. So let me just take that fib off for a second. There is a little 15-minute downtrend, as you can see. You might potentially want to be looking for a break of that. Okay, so if buyers start to come in, we want to see a change of trend on the 15-minute. We're making lower highs, lower lows. We want to start to see higher highs, higher lows. So there was your last swing high there, look. So maybe you want to start to see price do this to change cycle. Okay, that's something you can look out for. There's lots of different ways you could trade you know, the change of sentiment, momentum. You may want to look for moving averages to cross. Okay, so it's not just this way. There's more than one way. There's normally more than one way to take a particular trade. It just depends on what you like to do. Let's just put some moving averages on. 15 minutes. Computer is being very slow today. So you can see those moving averages there, look, are in a bearish order. This is bullish. 8 above the 20, 20 above the 50, but then they are the other way around at the moment as price moves down. So maybe you want to look for the moving averages to all be in the right order, look for a pullback into the averages, and then look for buyers to come in. That could be another thing as well. But each to their own, as they say. But remember, EMAs are what's called lagging indicators, so they are calculated based on previous price action. Nothing actually beats price action. Okay, it's because you're basically seeing it there and then it's live. So if you can learn how to read the market and learn about price action, you will have an advantage as far as I'm concerned over someone that trades with moving averages. But moving averages are still a great way to trade, and a very easy way to trade as well. You know, looking for the averages to be in the right order. Pretty much everybody should be able to do that. Okay, so I'm not going to knock moving average trading either, because it does have its advantages. Okay, but I just wanted to point out, you know, there's a couple of different ways of doing the same thing basically. But 15-minute downtrend, if we see that change, then that could be a good indication of that start. If we started to change cycle after hitting that 50% fib retracement or this trend line, then even better. So look out for Aussie USD upside, and next resistance level is up here. Look, we're at about 74.75, anywhere up here, you know, where we've seen previous highs. That would be a decent area to either take all of your profit off or a large proportion of it. Obviously then if you leave something on to see if it breaks to the upside even more, then make sure your trade is in at break even or risk free. So Aussie USD looks nice. Definitely keep your eyes on that. Swiss franc, I like this. If you're looking for dollar weakness, I like the idea of this particular trade. Dollar Swiss downside. Let me just show you the daily time frame, because Friday produced a rejection candle there off this. If I just show you the smaller time frame, guys, we've got this trend line here. We break, didn't quite retest it, nearly, but that could have been the break, retest, and potentially further downside. Now that alert there is actually if this low gets broken. Now there is a little bit of support there I can see, and resistance, but looking for, obviously with that bearish USD expected and this particular currency pair looking like a break retest, looking for this to push to the downside. So I actually want to look for a break of Friday's low. There's also going to be a counter trend line here. Okay, so you can start looking for that as well. So dollar Swiss looks nice as well to the downside. We've just got to see, potentially we could break this this high here, come and tap this trend line here, and then start to go. That's something else to keep an eye on. I can draw a trend line as well, look guys. Pound USD also looks interesting. We've got this very, very nice H4 uptrend here, and we're coming into structure here where this was previous resistance, or we have come into it, I should say. You know, this little area here where the market found resistance, sellers came in, we broke, now we're retesting, we're starting to see some buyers come in there. So, you know, what is your plan if you're interested to buy this? Well, CTL, let's take those moving averages off. You could potentially look for a break of this CTL. You could draw it like that, you could draw it like that. Actually, I think both would actually, you could argue both of those are correct. This is a little false break. We can see a swing high here, so you could be looking for price to start breaking above this high, because this is the last swing high. You could look for something like, you know, this change of cycle, like we were looking for a 15-minute change of cycle on Aussie. You know, we could start looking for something like this on pound USD, change of cycle. That's on the hourly. Obviously you can look on the 15 or whatever time frame suits you. So let's see if those play out. That bit more dollar weakness. Pound USD looks good to us. Aussie USD looks good to us. Dollar Swiss looks good for downside. Euro looks to be producing a flag. Euro dollar, basically the inverse of the dollar index. You could look for this to break out as well. So yeah, dollar shorts look really nice. A market that I don't actually talk about a lot, but one of our members asked me a question about it the other day, was WTI Oil. Really nice bullish trend at the moment, and this is perhaps where EMAs might help you. I'll show you this market with and without moving averages, but I can see this is an 8-hour time frame, and I can see that, you know, when price pulls into that 20 moving average, and then we can look for buyers to come in. That's normally a decent pullback on this market. Didn't quite touch it there, look, but you can see came very close, and then we start to see that upside. So this is a very nice bullish market where you could look for a bounce off the 20 moving average and then for buyers to come in, but take the moving averages off. Okay, I like to show you different sides of the picture. There's your swing high, there's your pullback into the level, there's your morning star pattern. Okay, similar resistance, support goes. Okay, this one, just a little tip of the wick there in resistance, support. So, you know, very well, I'm not going to say easy, but very technically, you know, textbook movement going on here from oil, especially on this 8-hour time frame. Beautiful hammer candle there, look guys. Off, you'd look for one of those at support, which is exactly what this is. Resistance becomes support, resistance becomes support. You know, another hammer candle there, look guys. I would have preferred a bigger what's called the colored bit of the candle is called a real body. Prefer a bigger real body on that one, but nonetheless there's a nice rejection there. So keep your eyes on this and basically trade trends until they obviously change trend. Okay, just trade with the trend. Really easy stuff. Don't make life hard for you. Don't think, oh, I'll try and trade the correction. You can do that, I suppose, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you are an expert trader. We've got a nice bit of resistance here, look, so you could look for price to pull back here. But yeah, so WTI looking nice as well. Let me put those moving averages back on. So yeah, remember it's Monday. We don't generally like to get involved with the market too soon on a Monday. We like to look for the Americans to come in, the New York session a little bit later in the afternoon. So we've got full liquidity in the market. But yeah, hopefully we're going to have some nice moves, certainly at the beginning of this week with some dollar weakness, and we can make some money early on. But we will see. We have to see what the market gives us. We can anticipate what's going to happen, but we need to see that relevant price action to take place before we get involved. So patience is needed, and let's see what happens. So I will speak to you later on. Bye for now.